Shit, shout out Max Energy. What up, homie? Thank you for the 3 months of membership too, by the way. But Max Energy says first, much love, Perry. Keep up the great work, champ. The streets is amazing. Shit, thank you, Max Energy. Thank you for all the love and the support always. I know you fuck with me heavy, big dog. So thank you. You make up the streets, Max Energy. So it's always appreciated, homie. Without you guys, shit, I'm basically nothing. So Otto says, yo. Tony says, cuh. Bro's neighbor said IGBBMN before stabbing the router box. Bro, literally, though, that crossed my mind. I'm like, did that bitch fucking stab the router? Anyway. Okay, there's more I wanted to say, though. I was just really getting started. Here, I have kind of a list of things I want to get into. But also though, like, I don't know. You guys been seeing the clips of Ali, right? I mean, Usman. Let me just look up Ali Abdelaziz real quick. Here's Ilya's manager firing back at Ali after he claimed Usman Nurmagomedov would head kick Ilya and make him quit. So there's that clout chasing again. And then Ali Abdelaziz says he was Ilya's manager. Says if he was Ilya's manager, he would retire before accepting the Usman Nurmagomedov fight. Okay, so there it is. And Ali, see all this. Ali wants Usman versus Ilya and believes Arman Tsarukyan is the only one who can give Usman a competitive fight. So he's really just going all in on ducking Quillan Salkilld. That's what I'm gonna say. And people gonna say that like I'm the one coping. No, bro. And the funny thing is that this is what these daggies do all the time. Isn't that what these daggies do all the time? They're always saying shit like this. You're ducking. What did they say? Ilya ducked Islam, right? They said Ilya ducked Islam, in disguise of negotiations, meaning like Ilya ducked Islam and then claimed like, nah, it was because of negotiations. Hang on, I'm talking and trying to set up the stream at the same time. So the Daggies do it all the time. That's my point, bro. The Daggies, they do it all the time. Accuse people of ducking. But you know what's funny? It takes one to fucking know one, bro. It takes one to fucking know one. And how funny is it that these dudes who constantly call people out for ducking, constantly are the kings of fucking ducking. Kings of ducking. Islam didn't give us the Ilya fight. Habib left way too soon. Retired way too soon. Bet you Umar is going to be ducking too, bro. These guys are straight ducks, and they're the ones who call everybody ducks. I'm just calling it out for you guys, though. I'm the one saying, Ali ducking fucking Salkilld. I'll say it again. Ali and Usman Nurmagomedov are effectively ducking Salkilld. They want these other high-profile names so that Usman can win when he loses, and I'm not having it. Quillan Salkilld versus Usman Nurmagomedov. Book it. That's next. Ali, I don't give a fuck, homie. That's next. Take it up with the boss. Take it up with me. Take it up with Big Perry because shit, I'm not letting this shit slide, Ali. You gotta take it up with me. I'm booking Usman versus Quillan, bro, and that's it. That's it. We got bigger fish to fry in the UFC, and Usman is just getting here. He got to prove his mettle. He got to prove his worth against our number 6 ranked lightweight, Quillan Salkilld. That's who he got to test his mettle against. And then we'll see what we can do with Usman Nurmagomedov. Then we'll see. But we're really hoping he loses so we could take all of that shine and put it on our boy Quillan Salkilld, baby. The bakery boy. The inventor of sex. I'm just kidding, but that is a weird thing. I only found out about that like a day ago, that he claimed that. Well, his fans did. Otto says, yo. CCMHWBT. What the hell? Yeah, we do got to spam it in all the comment sections. Wait, Dylan, what is CC? Can't change. Can't change. Can't change man. He would be tough. I don't know what the hell that means. Why is Perfecto crying laughing? Ali says, honestly, I was out of line. Max is a legend and I have nothing but respect for him. I shouldn't have said what I said. I was wrong and I sincerely apologize. Yeah, bro, Ali completely out of line. He fucking but it's because, bro, see what I mean? Ali apologized because Ali is straight ducking Quillan and Max caught a stray and Ali knows it. Ali's like, "Damn, man, we're really just ducking Quillan over here. Like I didn't mean that shit. I didn't mean that shit, man. We just ducking Quillan. Like it's no disrespect, Max. It's just business, homie. We just ducking Quillan. Like you caught that. We just ducking Quillan. We really don't want that smoke right now. We really don't want those problems. You know, you're a legend. We'll take those problems with you. You know, we'll take those problems with you. You'll probably beat our ass, but shit, at least we lose to a legend like you. You know, that's where Ali's at right now. And Ali, why don't you respond to champ rounds, not fucking, one with a little bit of engagement. Put it on the big platform that reposted you so we can all see your comment. This one slid right under the radar. Nobody reposted it. Another dust. Oh, clapping cheeks, man. He would have been tapping. Yeah, that's it, right? Clapping cheeks, man. He would have been tapping. Yep, clapping cheeks, man. He would have been tapping. It would be bad for Usman if he fought Quillan. That's what I'll say again. Now I want to get into something else. I want to get into something else because, it's about the Mateusz Gamrot situation. Okay, we'll keep it on this like how it is right here. Mateusz Gamrot. I need this to be understood right now, and I've kind of got to the bottom of it. But let me see. I did write down my points this time around. Hang on, hang on. Yeah, I was writing things like Ali doing damage control for Usman before Salkilld fight, saying Usman should fight Gaethje or Max, and saying he'd make Ilya quit. Yeah, bro, it's so obvious. Straight ducking Quillan. Ali and Usman straight ducking Quillan before the fight even happened. Gamrot made rookie mistakes putting his two paws on the floor. Crazy. When Salkilld had his back, just never do that. If someone has your back, the last thing you do is put both paws on the floor, bro. Unreal. You know what? Let's just go to that one. Let's go to that while we talk about this man Gamrot because it needs to be understood and it ain't. It ain't understood yet. But it will be soon. Cheeks clapping, man. He would have been tapping. Cheeks clapping, man. He would have been tapping. Soda Pop, tell me right now, it's Quillan Salkilld versus Usman Nurmagomedov. We can debate that. Shit, this is what I'm saying. So, hey, where are all you guys calling for the debate now? Where are all you MMA now heads calling for the debate now? Where are people saying, Perry, are you going to debate tonight? I'm giving you guys the juice. You guys don't even see the juice sometimes when it's sitting right fucking in front of you. You know? Been getting begged for days to do a debate, right? I finally come up with the topic. I come, here I am. No one asking for a debate. Where's MMA now? Who does he want Quillan Salkilld to fight? Shit, homie, get his ass over here. Cheeks clapping. He's gonna be tapping. I'm gonna have his cheeks clapping in a few seconds. Anyway, Come on now, Soda Pop. Quillan Salkilld aura is crazy. Correct. Confirmed. And Quillan Salkilld versus Usman Nurmagomedov. It's the fight to make. I don't want to hear nothing else. And if you do got something else to say, then I'm going to prove you wrong. I don't know about Usman. I mean, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Soda Pop, you come on though. Charles Oliveira. Oh my God, here it goes. Charles or Holloway. We can't do this. I've already spoke about it, but I'll just say it one more time. I disagree, homie, and like I think, listen, it's like this, Soda Pop. Power to Holloway and Charles if they take the fight, right? Power to them, but they're not taking the fight, and that's where like I get lost about even speaking about it. Because why would we? I have zero interest in Usman, bro. I have less than zero interest in Max or Charles, just because of the fact that they're not even going to take the fight. Max Holloway coming off the biggest payday of his life with Conor McGregor. You don't go from McGregor to Quillan Salkilld. You know, like I was saying, Charles Oliveira, Max Holloway, these two dudes are coming off of pay-per-view headliners. These are pay-per-view headliners. You pay them the big bucks. I don't think Quillan Salkilld's there yet, and that's why I have interest in the Usman fight, because Usman would get him there. Quillan beating Mateusz Gamrot, it doesn't really put you in the conversation, because Mateusz Gamrot is fake, bro. He's not who he claims to be. And that's how we get into this segment right now with Mateusz Gamrot, paws on the floor. You know, he claims he's something he's not, and I got to call it out. We got to call this out. But there's nobody else for Oliveira or Holloway to fight. If you want my take on that, Soda Pop, it's kind of weird with the division. It's weird, bro. We can go a lot of ways with it. I mean, I think this is probably a good talking point, so we can get into it right now. You can obviously go like at the first glance, Soda Pop. I think the obvious moves are Paddy Pimblett, Ilia Topuria, right? And then Charles Oliveira and Max Holloway get left out, and that's why it's weird. That's why it gets made weird. What I would probably do right now, gut instinct, I'm kind of leaning towards Paddy versus Ilia, Charles versus Gaethje rematch. Max Holloway sitting out till 2027, being entitled. Like I said, if he takes the fight with Quillan, power to him. If Max takes the fight with Quillan, power to him. I just don't see him taking it. I just don't see him taking it. And then if he sits out for it, I think they would reward Quillan with an Usman, if we're hypothetically speaking. Charles can't skip the line like that, man. Well, I know, Soda Pop, I know. But it's funny, bro, because of Arman's lack of activity and the lack of like top level competition. I know it's not always his fault, but it's like the lack of top level competition, the lack of activity. Like it does allow Charles to get put in that mix, just because like Charles's 2 wins are like against, you know, Max and Gamrot to some extent. Like it's hard to fucking contextualize, bro. But Arman got to be next up if he beats Ruffy. Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated for sure. The matchmakers got it like their work cut out for him. If you really want to make all the puzzle pieces fit, Soda Pop, this is what you do, but you guys aren't going to like the answer. You go Max Holloway versus Ilia Topuria 2. You go Paddy versus Charles for the true number 1 contender, because that's the truth, man. That's the truth. Paddy versus Charles is the true number 1 contender, right? Paddy's coming off that BSD win, back in the win column after losing to Gaethje. You beat Charles Oliveira, who's riding a 2-fight win streak, Gamrot and Holloway. right? The current BMF champion, you get yourself back in that title picture. The winner of that fight gets to fight for the title next. And then obviously if Arman beats Ruffy, he's going to be first in line for the lightweight championship. And then, you know, the winner of Paddy Charles will get the next crack at the title. But that's kind of like that's kind of what where I'm at with it. And then, you know, obviously you get Quillan versus Usman. Arman after he beats Gaethje versus after he beats Ruffy versus Gaethje. I agree. Topuria versus Paddy. I mean, like I agree, but I just think that us being so steadfast on that is causing problems. But who cares? Because Max Holloway is causing problems too by sitting out till 2027 after doing nothing against Conor McGregor. You know, that's a bank robbery. There's a distasteful bank robbery from Max Holloway. So I'm not too worried about Max. If anybody can be the odd man out, it's Max. You know, he can count his dollars on the couch. Topuria versus Paddy, Charles versus Salkilld, Holloway versus Diego. Bro, fuck no. Gamrot versus Fiziev rematch. That's getting too in the weeds just with the bottom two, but like if Charles takes the fight with Salkilld, I mean power to him, and I think of all people Charles would take the fight over Salkilld because Charles doesn't really give entitled at the moment. Max Holloway gives a little entitled. You know, I would have loved, but Max is sitting out till 2027. You understand? But like I would have loved to see Arman versus Max. Tell me you guys wouldn't love to see Arman versus Max. It's a good fight. Two guys who are who have been acting entitled. So you guys both operating off of privilege fight each other, bro. Not we can't have two of you. There ain't enough room for two of you. Now I need to speak more about Gamrot because I keep getting taken off my point. But shout out to Soda Pop for popping in the chat. You know I like to see you in here. Okay, wait. Let me see. Let me read more chats though. Sorry for ignoring other people. Me and Soda Pop are having a full-on debate right now. More Gamrot, more like Scamrot. Yeah. I'm gonna explain why he's Scamrot. Dylan says Usman was already embarrassed by Paul Hughes twice. Not according to the Usman Nurmagomedov apologist, bro. Perfecto says Max is on the way out though. He doesn't have that many more fights left. Well, I know, and if he fights Quillan Salkilld and happens to lose, bro, he's on the way out even sooner. That's bad juju. You do not lose to Quillan Salkilld as a Max Holloway. I'm telling you guys, it's not gonna happen. Salkilld doesn't have much to bring to the table. That's I think what you guys might be missing. What is Salkilld bringing to the table? You know, it's not a handout that he's gonna receive. So he needs to bring something to the table. How do you bring something to the table? You beat a former champion, bro. I mean, we could put it real simple, right? We could put it real simple. How many former champions has Quillan Salkilld fought? How many former champions has Quillan Salkilld beat? How many people who have contended for the belt has Quillan Salkilld beat or fought? You know, the answer to all those questions is nothing and no one. Zero. Zilch. Goose egg. When you talk about Charles Oliveira, you talk about Max Holloway, you talk about former champions, you talk about a recently removed champion, you talk about Conor McGregor fight, you talk about BMF champion, you talk about lightweight champion, featherweight champion, multiple title defenses. Not only were these guys champions, they got title defenses. They have wins over former champions. Max Holloway has contested for belts in multiple divisions. You understand the difference here? So like I don't mean to be rude, right? And it's not rude. I'm just kind of pointing it out. I want the best for Salkilld too. But I'm just kind of explaining why I'm not sold on the Charles Oliveira Max Holloway fights. And I'm trying to tell you guys one more time, for anyone who has zero interest, Soda Pop, in fucking Usman Nurmagomedov versus Quillan, the selling point is that when Quillan beats Usman, Okay, that's a big deal, man. That fight is a big announcement. I don't know why that's getting no sold. That fight's a big announcement. That win for Quillan is a big deal. Now you beat the former Bellator champion in his UFC debut. Now you can call for something. You beat a name brand. You beat a former champion. You beat a guy that everybody was talking about that was gonna fucking make Ilya quit. Beat up Max Holloway. He was going to be the one to fight Justin Gaethje. Now, Quillan Salkilld is in that conversation. Now the former champions will anoint him an opportunity. But you got to put in that work, man. You got to put in that work. And he does put in the work. I'm not saying he doesn't, but bro, these guys have put in a lot of work over decades. Quillan's been training for 8 years. Max Holloway been in the UFC longer than 8 years. Charles Oliveira been in the UFC longer than 8 years. This dude been training for 8. He got more work to do. He got more work to do. I know you guys love it. I know you guys are riding for Quillan because he won last night, you know, but it's not such a liberal system like we all want it to be, you know, for the hardcore fans out there. Arman got to be next up if he beats Ruffy. Dude, Charles is next. Arman is a joke nowadays, it seems. Yeah, Perfecto. I mean, that's why I say, like, why not put Charles up in there? Not that I think Arman is a joke, but Arman, bro, like he's rode out the wave for as long as he can. His title shot's about his number one contendership is about to expire too, bro. And he's renewing it with the win over Mauricio Ruffy. That's gonna renew his subscription. AD says, "What's up, Jacob and crew? What up, AD?" Soto has his arm. Okay, I'm behind. Let me catch up. Tony says Gamrot versus Fizzy rematch is good. TBH, the way Gamrot celebrated Fizzy's injury got me heated for real, cuh. Oh, I didn't even really pay too much attention to that. Yeah, we could watch that. I'd be down. Armand just holds him, bro. Oh, Max Holloway. Well, see, I kind of operate on a different. I guess you could go off of like excitement with that. Like that's not an exciting fight. But for me, Soda Pop, I'm trying to narrow down the number one contender, bro. I'm trying to narrow down the number one contender. And Max Holloway talks like he still has these title contentions. It's like let's just test it. Let's test it, bro. You talk about he's trying to squeeze in for a title shot with that McGregor win. I gotta win over the former or I gotta win over the champion. He might just want to throw that bone my way. Like, bro, you want to talk like that and be so entitled? Shit, go fight Armand then and go get wrestled the whole time. I mean, that's my stance, Soda Pop. Maybe I personalize it a bit too much. Maybe I do. But that's why I say Max versus Armand, to be honest. They're so entitled, the both of them. The both of them are so entitled. One says I want a title shot for beating Max or Conor McGregor and having a win over the former champ or over the current champion. And then one expects a title shot for beating Charles Oliveira 2.5 years ago and then stepping in and beating Dan Hooker. Like, okay, bro, you get the fucking title shot. The both of your fucking entitled asses. Jacob, you think Rob can still dominate? Not Peter Young with that broken nose, AD. No. Not Peter Young with that broken nose. The rest of the division, it'll remain to be seen after Peter Young cooks him in the trilogy. AD. So it goes Lopez versus Holloway. Holloway is a great scrap. I don't know why you hating on that one, LMAO. Oh, because I was thinking Diego Ferreira. That's my bad, Soda Pop. Diego Ferreira fought this last weekend, so I was getting my mind was twisted on that. That's my bad. Diego Lopez versus Holloway is a great scrap for sure, for sure. But again, like that's more privilege to Lopez, and I get it. But if Lopez is gonna fight Holloway, why wouldn't Lopez fight Salkilld? You guys are jumping up Salkild's competition a bit too high. And I think it's because you guys think maybe he could beat them. I'm not sure, but one step at a time. Like you're talking about anointed champions, and Max Holloway and Charles Oliveira. I don't know do you want Quillan to have a successful run to the title or like a bit of a scary run to the title? And I get it. I get it. But I'm just saying, like, you sometimes you got to protect fighters from themselves and give them the right progressions. And I think it would be nice for him to progress into fighting a former title challenger in Diego Lopez. Then you beat the former title challenger. Okay, let's give you a champion, a former champion. But it's steps up the ladder, man. He's already skipped a lot of steps and he's doing well, but you guys are making him skip another 3. This dude never beat a champion. This dude never fought a champion. Throw him a title contender, somebody who didn't touch the belt, but he got close, and see where he stands. That's like really good for Quillan Salkilld. I don't really understand the rush. I don't understand the rush. He still has a lot to build up into, and he's got the world in his fingertips, and you guys are just like speed running it. No offense. I love you, Soda Pop. I love you. But I like Lopez in that conversation. My question is, how high up of a ranking does Lopez get? He gets a lot of privilege, does he not? Your boy Tommy Gunn got matchup against Rahiki Cut. I know. Rahiki saying he's gonna knock his ass out in the first. Jacob, is Gaethje the biggest fighter in the UFC now? He's definitely one of them. AD. Okay, but Charles fought Gamrot 2 fights ago. Salkilld is more popular than Gamrot, bro. Yes, but Gamrot took that fight on short notice. Soda Pop. So, like, remember, Gamrot was never really in the conversation. He wasn't in the conversation. Believe me, Soda Pop, believe me. I want you to understand one thing. With everything I've said too, one thing just to understand is, bro, I'm not hating on Salkilld. I fuck with Salkilld. Like, I fuck with Salkilld heavy. Why wouldn't I? I want the best for him too. But I'm mixing up what I want the best for him and like what I see is realistic. So maybe maybe we'll just end up agreeing to disagree. But look, I wouldn't be opposed to Charles and Max, but when you talk about politics, I kind of get lost in that. And then it's like, well, shit. Let's look at Usman, or Diego Lopez or something. But believe me, homie, I fuck with Salkilld. I do fuck with Salkilld. And Charles was originally supposed to fight Fiziev, and Salkilld is more popular than Fiziev too. Well, I mean, yeah, now. Salkilld is good, bro. Salkilld is good. I don't want to get it's like, look, I won't hold him back. I won't hold him back. Kind of like what I'm saying, I won't hold him back, man. He could fight them, but it's just, will they fight him? We should do the poll. It's gonna be good, my dude. Good night, cut. I'm gonna catch some Z's blood. All right, peace out. Peace out. Soda says you thinking way too high of Charles, dog. 80 says, come on, Jacob. Max on the latter part of his career. I mean, I do think highly of Charles. I think highly of Quillan. Juice says Armand fumbled a title shot too as well. Ain't like he ever got one. Ain't like he never got one. Yeah, exactly. That's why if Charles were to surpass Armand, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. You guys think it's crazy too, but it's funny. I wouldn't be mad at it. Patty is the next major champion, in my opinion. He beats everyone. Shit, perfecto. We fuck with Patty. Yeah, Jacob on point about Marab. Thank you, AD. Space says LOL. Sotomayor goes, Salkilld literally made easier work of Gamrot than Charles did, bro. He's ready for it. Okay, fine. Fine, Soda Pop. Fine. But, okay, let's put it like this, right? Let's put it like this. Maybe Salkilld is ready for it. But can Salkilld secure the fight? Can he get the fight? I'm still doubtful. Okay, I'm still doubtful. So I'm trying to meet you where I can meet you, homie. But I can't meet you there. I can't meet you there. Okay, fine. I get it. I see the parallels. You think I haven't heard that? Come on now. I've heard that one already. That's been a big talking point since the fight took place. Salkilld submitted Gamrot faster than Charles did. So next progression, Charles Oliveira. The thing is, man, what are the odds of Salkilld securing the Charles Oliveira fight? Now you're gonna say pretty high because Charles Oliveira, you know, fought Fiziev and he fought Gamrot. So I mean, okay. I mean, we're having our conversation, Soda Pop. So let's see. Let's see. I say pretty low because of my reasons listed. You know, champions. Quillan hasn't really fought the champions yet. I know it's a small comparison, but it's, you know, even to pick apart the Gamrot thing and Charles beating him, taking longer to beat him. Well, Charles took the fight on short notice. You know, Gamrot, that was like a year ago at this point. Gamrot's a year older now. This is Gamrot's second fight since the Charles fight. He could have underwent injuries. There's just a there's a lot that goes into this stuff, right? So like just because Quillan beat him 5 minutes faster than Charles did, it doesn't necessarily mean that like Quillan beat the Gamrot that Charles beat. It also doesn't mean that, you know, Quillan is better than Charles because Quillan had the ample time to prepare for Gamrot. You know, Charles didn't. Charles took the Gamrot fight on short notice, and so did Gamrot, right? But it's a better fight for Gamrot because it's a win-win. He can't even lose in a situation like that. Even if he loses, it's a win for him. Now let's talk about it. Hang on though, hang on. Let me read I'm gonna read a bunch of chats. I'm enjoying the conversation. Rahiki be styling to Rahiki and Guns a good matchup. Yeah, Rahiki saying he's gonna knock out Tommy. The standard of UFC champion is extremely low in today's times. You guys agree or no? I kind of agree, Perfecto, but at the same time I don't, because I still think it's really hard to get that belt. But I hear what you're trying to say. Although I do think that a lot of the guys who get the belt are great. But yeah, if you take like JDM, Bilal, even Josh Van, who hasn't been training for very long, I see your point. Mackenzie Dern, Perfecto, I see your point. Because 10 years ago, Mackenzie Dern would have never touched that belt with Valentina and Joanna Jędrzejczyk running the division. AD says, Jake, will you do more interviews with UFC fighters? Should get one with Bobby Green and some of the some up and coming dudes. I'll do more interviews, AD, but I'm waiting to get my Instagram back right now. That's kind of where I'm at. I don't want to get into that right now. Maybe we can get into that another day. But, you know, I hit up people with my IG. So that's a big resource to getting interviews. Rahiki gonna put Guns in the ground. Rahiki is a nightmare for Guns style. I can't wait for that fight. I mean, I kind of agree with you off rip on that one, Soda Pop. I'm curious to see what Tommy Guns can bring to the table on that one, though. I don't see why they would fight them. What do they have to gain, TBH? That's my point. Patty at least a superstar, so I can see them taking that fight. Exactly. Patty also fought Gaethje. Drew says Sal might have to fight a BSD or Fiziev. Yeah. Yeah, this a different Max, though. Holloway fought Arnold Allen, bro. Salkilld has been one of the most talked about guys since his UFC debut. This is a guy who's been on the rise to stardom since his literal debut. Soda Pop, if I could say one thing, you saying that I believe too much in Charles or something like that, I think you put a little too much stock in Salkilld right now. I think that Salkilld is a lot of the things you're saying, but it's hard to say, bro. He hasn't crossed over. He's kind of an internet meme. Salkilld is kind of an internet meme. That doesn't really mean you're a star. He's very popular, but he still has work to do. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. Listen, man, in simple terms, I'll put it like this. In simple terms, you cannot just reach the top in 2.5 years. Like, you got to put in work. It's a steady build. It's a steady build, steady progress. There's a saying out there too. The quicker the rise, the faster the fall, bro. Like, I'm not against Quillan and fucking Soda Pop gaslighting me, making it seem like I am. It's not like he got this hype just now. It's been like 2 years. Bro, Anshul Jubilee put him on the map though and shit. Like, come on, man. I fuck with this guy. You're making it seem like I don't fuck with this guy. You're or in a way you're not you, but it's like shit. I'm gonna start hating on him, so I should just really leave it alone. But like, because I don't want to hate on the guy. I like him. I'm just kind of saying my points. But it's a good conversation. Jacob, UFC is oversaturated, and since they ate up all the feeder organizations, there is little time to build up the upcoming fighters and make them more interesting to fans. Yeah, like you can't really sign a DC or Luke Rockhold anymore. AD. With Salkilld, I feel the risk is not worth the reward in these guys' eyes. Of course it's not. Okay, but what about Poirier's high risk, no reward when he went against BSD? He asked for more money though, Soda Pop. That's why I was saying, the money does matter. And they tried to announce that fight with Poirier and BSD, and Poirier said, "Nah, bro, you guys got to pay me. Fuck you, pay me." And then they paid him and he took it, and then he starched his ass. 80 says, "I hear you, Jacob, using IG for the connects." Yeah, so we're gonna get the IG back, AD. I got to follow up about that tomorrow. Dustin was stuck and had to, though. He wasn't stuck and had to. Dustin asked for more money. Holloway is stuck too, bro. But what are you gonna do? So Soda Pop, let me give you an example. You're gonna give Max Holloway, let's just call it 1 million, 1.5 million to fight Quillan Salkilld on a UFC Fight Night headliner, or you're gonna give Max Holloway 1 million, 1.5 million to fight Quillan Salkilld on just a UFC pay-per-view, just on the main card somewhere. I don't think it's going to pan out like that. I think when you talk about the money that Max Holloway demands, coming off the Conor McGregor fight, coming off being a BMF champ, featherweight champ, when you talk about those things, Max Holloway is going to find himself in a main event of a pay-per-view somewhere, or up on like the co-main with bigger names. Patty's a meme. Oh, Soda Pop says Holloway is stuck too. Holloway might be stuck. I can admit that Holloway might be stuck. But when you're stuck, you have two options. You can either continue to sit out, or you can take a fight. It's the Yair Rodriguez approach. Same way Yair Rodriguez ducked Zabit Sharipov. Holloway might not feel stuck though. LOL, in his mind, he has the Conor fight and title shot soon. Yeah, I know somebody calling everyone with a little bit of star power, star potential superstars lately on the broadcast. I don't even think Salkilld is that good, by the way. I just think his popularity is crazy right now, and he's earned these fights with the wins he's gotten. Well, I would just say, if you don't believe he's that good, which I wouldn't say that he's, how do you put this? Because I don't want to be hating. Salkild's good, but he hasn't, like, come on, bro. He only been training for 8 years. Let's put it like that, man. Um, and shit, I know Joshua Van is a champion too, so it just makes it hard to fucking contextualize it. But just because there's an outlier doesn't mean it becomes the norm. Okay. And the norm still stands. 8 years, you're not the best in the world necessarily. And so with that being said, he's one of these guys. Come on, man. This is what I've been saying. Salkilld has already exceeded expectation. He's already way above where he's supposed to be. And you guys want to throw him even further just because the guy's popular. Come on, man. What you doing, Soda Pop? You got to listen to me at some point, homie. You got to listen to me about this one at some point. At some point, you got to listen to me. He's not that good, according to you, but he's popular. So give him a fight that he's probably going to lose. What are we doing? What are we doing? He's already beating guys he shouldn't necessarily be beating at this point in time, but he's doing it. Give him the time to evolve, bro. He could be great. I'm telling you, he beats a guy like Usman Nurmagomedov. It does a ton for his confidence. Honestly, bro, why the fuck do you have zero interest in that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I think he's very good. I just don't think the top 5 will fight him just yet. Pay-per-view co-main, bro, and no, I want Charles versus Salkilld as a pay-per-view co-main. Charles was just about to take a co-main against Arman. Listen, okay, I'll say it like Soda Pop. I got you. I got you. I respect it. I respect it. And I would say, okay, if Charles takes it, then shit, power to Charles. I'm down for that fight. I'm down for it. I would not be mad. I would not be mad. I just don't see Charles taking it. But if Charles will take that fight on a pay-per-view co-main, because like you said, Charles was just about to take a co-main against Arman. If he takes that fight, shit, power to him. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm stoked on it. Credit to Charles, and I'd like to see that fight. So we're kind of on the same page, and then we're not at the same time. We're like on the same page, but I'm doubtful that it'll happen. So then I go for the thing that I think that will happen. I want Patty versus Charles for the BMF man. LOL. Yeah, Patty versus Charles is amazing. You know that, Jew. We've been kind of talking about it. Holloway versus Salkilld would be good, but I don't think Max takes it. You don't go from Connor to Salkilld. I'm sorry. Salkilld versus BSD. Fuck it. I know. Okay, but why would we give Salkilld somebody not as popular, and then when he loses, his hype is completely gone instead of capitalizing his hype for a big fight? Okay, all right. No, I'm listening. I'm listening, homie. I'm listening. Um, I guess the question from that question that arises for me, Soda Pop, is do you really think that his star power would go down given a loss to Usman Nurmagomedov? I would hear it. I'd be open to hear that. I think his hype would go down a little bit, losing to Usman. I think his hype would go down a little bit losing to Usman. But you know what's funny is Patty's hype went down a little bit too for losing to Gaethje. How funny is that? But then it all of a sudden came back as soon as Gaethje beat fucking Ilya, and then Patty went on to beat BSD. So it's a really weird concept with the whole hype thing. Again, these situations, they're not one size fits all. The hype thing is weird too, like I just said. Everyone used Patty's loss to Gaethje as like proof that he sucks dick. And then as soon as Gaethje beat Ilya, they're like, oh, he's actually kind of good. And then Patty goes and beats BSD, and they're like, oh, no, he legit. So it's weird, man. It's weird. Because in theory, like, Salkilld fights Usman in Usman's UFC debut and loses. Then Usman goes on to become the champion. They're going to be like, oh, Salkilld was kind of good. It's a weird dynamic. Max has been derailing prospects forever, too, though he has. I low-key think Salkilld grabs Max and beats him, but I don't want to see it. Won't mean much. We already know Max's grappling deficiency at 155 just because the size and strength factor. All right, all right. He's only 26. He'll get easiest matchup next? Question mark, says Franklin. Um, Shit, they're trying to give him tough matchups, Franklin. I was saying give him a bit of an easier matchup, but shit. I figured Soda Pop was gonna say that. Soda Pop goes, I also don't want to see Usman. He's some generic NPC with no standout qualities. Guy is boring, man. Hey, Soda Pop, you got to peep the screen for the one time. Usman Nurmagomedov after a win. It's like, bro, you fucking NPC. Get the fuck out the octagon. Is Usman just not the boring version of John Pork? He's kind of boring, but that's why Quillan's gonna beat the shit out of him, bro. Gamrot's ass, I feel like, but no, Soda Pop, you're actually cooking low key about the whole Usman thing. Usman is kind of boring. I was looking back at his fights; they are a bit boring. But I don't know. There's something about Usman that I like. I watch it because I hope he kind of loses. I don't know. He is pretty good, even though he's boring. So sometimes if you're of a good skill level but you're boring, I'll still watch it. Gamrot's ass. I feel like Perry was beating his ass in last week's news. I'm gonna beat his ass one more time in today's news. Sal ain't this crazy grappler though. He's a striker. Striker, but he got that black belt. So I don't know. I think Salkild's one of those overall well-rounded mixed martial artists. Do I think Salkild is going to do a lot to Max in the wrestling department? No. No, I wouldn't say so. I'll disagree with Cupcake on that one. Max's easy matchup, maybe it is Max then, basically. If we're going easy matchup, Franklin, we go BSD. When are we going to be done with this Dagestani fighter? I know. Especially if Max isn't fighting until 27. That's true, and Quillan wants to return before end of this year. Are you just going to let him keep spawning in? Usman's the last one. Usman wouldn't get past Wrong Zoo. Ah. One leaves, another one comes in, question mark. Shit, this is going to be the last one. Salkilld will probably be 27 by then, getting closer to prime. No way that market sells like that these days. Nah, Salkild's more of a grappler than a striker. His boxing is pretty bad, man. Zero head movement. I've seen Salkilld boxed up bad like 3 times. Salkilld has some sneaky kicks, I guess. I was picking Wrong Zoo over Salkilld, by the way, and I still would. Salky versus Max 27. All right, before I get tired, I just want to say something. Mateusz Gamrot, I pieced this together today. I was fucking just thinking to myself, and I pieced this together because it's really rubbed me the wrong way how Mateusz Gamrot politicked for the short notice fight against Charles Oliveira. And it's really duped the whole fan base into thinking that he's something he's not, which is like one of the top 5 guys. He's not, and he's never been. You know, he beat Arman years ago, and he's had multiple setbacks since that. And then he had multiple setbacks, and then he still thought that he could beat Charles Oliveira. No, he didn't, bro. We all know he knew he couldn't. Okay, so let's go over the resume a little bit because I just want this to be known. You know, yes, Mateusz Gamrot, he beat Arman Tsarukyan. And you know what he did? Immediately after, he lost a unanimous decision to Beneil Dariush, bro. Got his ass fucking flatlined on that canvas, too. For momentarily. You know, Beneil Dariush knocked him off his feet. So then anyway, you know, he goes on a 3-fight win streak, right? Then he loses to Dan Hooker. Okay, Dan fucking Hooker. You don't get to lose to Dan Hooker and be one of the best in the division. So, you know, he beats Ludovic Klein, and then all of a sudden he's like politicking, like, I'll take the Charles Oliveira fight because Charles Oliveira's opponent pulled out. Who is Charles Oliveira's opponent? Rafael Fiziev. You know, and this dude's still trying to make the most off of that injury win over Rafael Fiziev. He's like, I got that injury win over Rafael Fiziev. Give me the fight with Charles Oliveira. I'll take it. I'm of that caliber. I got to win over Fiziev. Give me that shit. Even though you've been lost to Dan Hooker, even though you've been lost to Beneil, he also probably saying, I beat Arman Tsarukyan. He lost to Arman. Give me that shit. Shit, you lost to Dan Hooker and Beneil, homie. I'm going to say it again. Okay, but here's the thing. All that was cap on Mateusz Gamrot's part. All of that was cap, bro. All the saying that he wants Charles Oliveira. You know, I beat Fiziev. Fiziev pulled out of the Oliveira fight, so I'll step in for Fiziev. You beat Fiziev off of a leg injury, bro. And then it's like, I beat Arman. Arman beat Charles. You know, I got this shit. Nah, bro. Nah. You know why he wanted that Charles Oliveira fight? Let's skip to the point. You know why he wanted the Charles Oliveira fight? Because Sean Strickland recently revealed it in a podcast. UFC fighters get a massive pay increase for taking fights on short notice. You think I'm fucking playing today? Sean Strickland says UFC fighter pay increases when taking short notice fights. You guys see how I stare straight at the screen and type that shit? I know you guys see that. Yeah, it's typing with no fucking eyes, baby. Strickland stated that taking a short notice fight can secure a $30,000 to $50,000 pay bump. Okay, so now we figured it out. Now we figured out why Mateusz Gamrot was begging for a fight he never had a chance in the first place, because he wanted a $50,000 pay bump. And stick with me. Stick with me. Okay, now we see why Mateusz Gamrot wanted a fight he never had a shot in the first place against Charles Oliveira, because he wanted a fucking $30,000 to $50,000 increase in pay. Now stick with me, because who does the UFC give Mateusz Gamrot as soon as he loses to Charles Oliveira? Right back into the fucking, top 30 he goes. Here, take Esteban Ribovics, bro. Back where you belong. You are not top 5. You are not fucking top 5. Here's back to Esteban Ribovics. Back to the top 30 you go, homie. And then, they said, you know what? We're paying you too much money, man. We got this prospect, this kid coming up, Quillan Salkilld, and you making too much money off of taking that Charles Oliveira fight on short notice. So you know what? We're going to give you another opportunity at the top 15. We're going to give you another opportunity at the top 15. But really, they're getting their money's worth. They're saying, okay, you took that $50,000 pay increase for fighting Charles Oliveira on short notice. You think you're just fighting bums and scrubs from now on? Nah, homie, that's not how it works. You played the system a little bit. You got that fight on short notice knowing damn well you couldn't win that shit. And you think you're going to go back to just fighting the top 40 with that $50,000 pay bump? Fuck no, you're not. Fuck no, you're not. You take that $50,000 pay bump and you fight Quillan Salkilld. After Esteban Ribovics, you go fight Quillan Salkilld. You get us our money's worth. You think you're getting a $50K pay bump. You take a quick loss to Charles, and you're back to the top 40 you go. Finishing guys like Esteban Ribovics, taking home $50K. Yeah, fucking right, bro. Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, right, bro. And so that's why he even had to fight Salkilld in the first place. Because it just gets to a point. He's getting paid the big bucks, and that's why he wanted Charles Oliveira in the first place, to get that pay bump. That's why he was celebrating. That's why he was sweating in his car. Hang on. Let's see if we can find it. Gamrot accepts Oliveira fight on short notice in his car. Here it is. Here it is. You guys think I'm always capping, huh? Now, we all thought at the moment in time he was making this reaction because he got the Charles Oliveira fight. We were God at this point. We're like, damn, this dude's really about it. He wants Charles. He's ready for him. This guy's ready for Charles Oliveira. That's what we thought. This dude's not scary at all. He's ready for Charles Oliveira. Little did we know that he was just reacting to the fact that he got a $50K pay bump. That's why he's reacting like this, because he's getting an extra $50K in 2 weeks. Look at the pit sweat all over there. He needed that $50K. In his sponsored whip. Hopped right out the sponsored Tesla truck to celebrate the $50K pay bump. So, I mean, I don't mean to do this to him, but he got us, bro. He's celebrating like he's excited. He was celebrating like he was excited that he got the Charles Oliveira fight. I don't buy it for a fucking second. I think he wanted the $50K pay bump. I see you guys are debating a different fight right now. Let's see. Salkilld was shooting for nuts against G Money. BSD can fight Patty again. That's what I'm saying. Shiloh versus Eshmoose too. If you can defend the takedowns, Salkilld gets so desperate, it's crazy. And then his back is against the cage and he's getting hit so hard and his reactions are bad too. I actually missed those fights. Tony South says Salkild's chinny. Sodapop says G Money had him shooting like 25 takedowns. Shiloh says Charles Johnson is a lock, boys. Ochoa brutal KO round 1, says Sodapop. But Shiloh said Charles Johnson is a lock. Sodapop says Ochoa is knocking out Charles Johnson round 1. Shiloh says Goofy. Ochoa never fought anyone. Free plus 295 odds right now. Sodapop goes, Ochoa KO'd the guy who Charles Johnson couldn't beat. What are you talking about, bro? Cupcake says, I've heard enough Salkilld versus Gaethje. Book it. Salkilld Gaethje is nice too. Probably the best win. Probably the best one. Why are we giving Gene free wins? Okay. All right. So anyway, we're moving off of this Mateusz Gamrot thing, but I really did need to get that off my chest today. That's the thing about Gamrot. That's why we all been duped, bro. He faked his way into the top 5, and that's fine. But it needed to be said, bro. It needed to be said. Okay, there's one more thing. There's one more thing we need to digest. One more. Well, I'm not signed into IG on my computer, but let me pull it up here. Hold up. Why didn't my chat go through? What the hell? Hang on. I'm trying to pull up this shit. Damn, I'm having a brain fart trying to get this link pulled up. Just give me 1 second. I don't know what the fuck why it's so complicated. What if I put a K in here? Okay, it popped up. Now I gotta make myself a mod. Add as moderator. It's gonna tell me my IG suspended. I just know it. All right, I'll just play it for you on my phone.
Total strike record in a 3-round fight. I mean,
I've seen the.
what do you think of his performances? Think he broke the significant strike record or total strike record in a 3-round fight?
I mean, I'm not really like when someone breaks a significant record, like it's not. As I see it, finish the guy in the first round. You know what I mean? I don't care about significance. I never think about I'm gonna land the most. That means you don't have knockout power. That means it takes you that long. It doesn't take me that long to finish, and that's the goal of this fight. You know, like going there to knock him out in the first round. Just like I always say, go in there and knock him out. If he comes in forward, it will be done quick. If he stays smart, he might survive a couple of minutes, but the results will be the same.
He talks a lot as well. Are you excited about that part of that?
I am very excited about it. I really hope that there will be a press conference.
Mhm.
So I want to see. I want that energy.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited, because that's a guy that, like a superstar, and I feel like I'm a superstar too. But I'm like, my vision is different to his vision. I believe it's like I want to be a champion. I want to be a respected champion, not a guy that when I take that belt, I don't want people to look at me and be like, I don't want to be the villain. You know what I mean?
So he says he wants to stop Tommy McMillan in the first, and if he comes forward like he does, it's gonna happen quick. We got a fake Jacob Castro now. No, that is me. That is me. I made myself a mod. Don't worry about it. That's not me. Or that's not Double Worlds, that's me. So yeah, Marwan Rahiki versus Tommy McMillan. That should be good too. Rahiki is clean. Yeah, Rahiki's clean. I like that though. It's like volume versus stopping power. So let's see it, you know? Volume versus stopping power. Who's gonna take it? I'm cooked though. I'm very cooked. Sodapop says if Rahiki loses, I'll be at a loss for words. I know Tommy. I mean, it's a great gauge. It's a great gauge to see like how good is Tommy McMillan. You know, like does he have something that breaks these guys who appear to be pretty decent? I don't know. Let's find out though. Let's find out. Tommy was just saying he only take risky fights if pay was worth it. Well, shit. I mean, the way Tommy talks, Marwan Rahiki ain't no the way Tommy fight or the way Tommy talks, Marwan Rahiki ain't no risky fight, you know? I can't see how McMillan's style will work with versus a guy with that power. Yeah, right, cuz McMillan's style is like it relies on eating heavy shots. Okay, we went live for an hour after the first stream shout out. Is that your new IG in that link? No, I was trying to like play the Marwan Rahiki reel on the computer. It's not my IG. It was the real I just played you. Soho says, I can't see, or McMillan style is good for grapplers, wrestlers, and pretty strikers. I mean, yeah, I think maybe after this fight, that's who he'll be getting. I agree. Rahiki ain't pretty, he scraps. He loads up from the hip, and McMillan don't move his head. He walks into punches. All true. Yeah, it's all true. It's all true. Rahiki just happens to be a bit pretty, don't he? No Diddy, but Rahiki, he a handsome fella. You got to give it to him. You do got to give it to him. McMillan could win his bases wrestling. Shit, but he doesn't really use takedowns. I'm excited for the fight. Rahiki loading from the hip is actually a blessing in this type of matchup. again. Low key it is. Low key it is. Soda pop cooking. That's why it was fucking. It's always funny when we actually end up debating because me and Soda Pop, I agree with a lot of what he says. Dylan says he's gonna wet blanket Rahiki. I do doubt that. It'll be bad for his future fights, though. Oh yeah, this knockout that might occur. UFC 330. Haven't really looked into the card too much, but yeah, Mackenzie. Any card that's co-headlined with a women's strawweight championship bout between Mackenzie Dern and Jillian Robertson. This is no shade on Jillian, but it's just like Mackenzie Dern. What are we doing? And then Charles Johnson is before the co-main. Yikes. Yikes. No, though, it's not a bad card for the hardcore fans. There's a lot of good fights. Jeremiah Wells, Mitabek, Oralby, Neil Magny, Ramiz Brahimaj. Luque versus Gore. Dante Johnson versus Eric McConico. Jalen Turner versus Kuye Fernandez. Chidi Njokuani versus Joel Alvarez. Barboza versus Ribovics. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Stoltzfus. Johnson versus Ochoa. Islam versus Machado. I mean, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. Jalen Turner and Jose Ochoa are the only interesting guys on the card. It's not bad. It's not bad. I'm a big hater too, but it's not bad. You don't want to see Vicente Luque versus Trayshawn Gore? If Trayshawn Gore beats Vicente, that's dope. Dante Johnson versus Eric McConico, probably gay. Jalen Turner versus Kuye, I said that's a dope fight. Chitty versus Joel Alvarez, that's a good fight. Mansour Abdul Malik versus Stoltzfus, it's a good fight. It's a builder card. It's a builder card. These fights will tell you a lot about these guys in the future. These are all obvious, though. You think Mansour Abdul Malik beats Dustin Stoltzfus? Ribovics beats Barboza? Alvarez beats Chitty? Is that what you're thinking? Dante Johnson beats Eric McConico. Gore beats Luque. Oralby beats Wells. Yes, LOL. I know. I can kind of see the writing on the wall. Yeah, I could. I could see the writing on the wall. Turner ran through Barboza last fight. How is Barboza Barboza above him on the card? Shit, beats me. Islam is more boring than Garry. His Prates and Bilal fights are bangers. A lot of people hate on the Bilal fight with Ian. I didn't hate it too much. I really liked the Prates fight. I really liked, Shop cut fight wasn't bad. But hey, listen, I'm actually fucking cooked. I'm actually really cooked and tired, and I gotta get off. I'm feeling the tiredness really hitting me. So I gotta get out of here, boys. But much love, and I love Jalen Turner though. Well, no, I mean you're sticking up for Jalen Turner. You're sticking up for Jalen Turner. Soda pop, so shit. Oh, that's what you're saying. You love Jalen Turner, so of course you would stick up for him. I get it. Spreading the gospel. Yes, that's facts, homie. Shout out to Jesus. There's been a couple the last couple streams have been pretty holy, so shout out to my man's Cupcake once again. Soda Pop says, "Nah, you good, bro. Thank you." Or no, Jew says, "Nah, you good, bro. I appreciate it, Jew. Get some sleep, brother. Good night. All right, peace out, Cupcake. Peace out, Soda Pop. Peace out, Jew. Peace out, Dylan. Peace out, Space Kid. Yeah, I could just feel myself. I'm so cooked. I'm feeling it coming on. So I'm gonna head out, boys. But shit, I'd stay on if I could. Much love to you, boys, though. Much love to you, boys. I'll see you later. Peace out to Otto. Peace out to Shiloh. Peace out to Franklin. Peace out to Tony Sal. Peace out to shit everybody. Peace out to AD Kid. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing right now. All right, peace out, boys. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be live all week for UFC 330, so you don't gotta wonder about that. I'll be live all week, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk more about UFC 330 and whatever occurs tomorrow. Peace out, boys. Thanks for watching. Like the stream on your way out if you didn't like the stream, and if you're not subscribed, make sure you boys subscribe.